Silent Hill 2 is widely considered as one of the most influential and genre-defining horror games to come out during the early 2000s. It's widely heralded as one of the best horror games ever made, and now that I've finally played it, I fully understand why. Yeah, I've never really played a Silent Hill game. Like, I knew about the franchise, I have knowledge about all the tomfoolery Konami has been doing with the franchise, but I never actually got around to play any of the Silent Hill games. Now that I did, I fully understand why this franchise is so beloved and why so many people get blue-balled every year whenever a new leak drops by for a new Silent Hill game. Okay, as I was editing this video, Konami officially announced a live stream for discussing the future of Silent Hill. And they announced a Silent Hill 2 remake, 2 brand new Silent Hill games, a movie, and something called Ascension, which is supposed to be this interactive streaming. I still can't understand what exactly is it. Maybe it's going to be something like Quantum Break. I'm not completely sure though. I'm still excited nonetheless. So yeah, I guess we're not getting blue-balled this year at least. So Silent Hill 2 has undoubtedly gave us a lot of spooky and iconic locations, and today I wanted to discuss about one such location, one that I found rather intriguing. That location is none other than the apartment buildings. In a lot of ways, the apartments not only showcase Silent Hill 2's core design philosophies and how it approaches horror, but it also serves as a taste of things to come throughout the rest of the game. In many ways, the apartments serve as a textbook example of how to properly do a horror level. So today, I decided to make a video on these levels to showcase why these levels are so good, why I think they are the perfect horror level. One of the first things that I really like about these levels is how they build up what's about to come. Like when you first enter the Woodside apartments, it just looks normal. Like the only major things that look off are the fact that most of the lights don't work and that there aren't any people around. Other than that, it just looks like a normal apartment. Then the tension and dread slowly start building up as you slowly ascend up the stairway and into one of the floors of the building. I also like how there's no ambient tracks for most of the areas, especially in these first parts. It's just completely silent, which further adds to the eerie and isolating atmosphere of these levels. The only sound that you'll hear for most of these areas are either James's footsteps or the footsteps of the enemies, or your radio going haywire when enemies are nearby. I also like the enemy placements in this area. Like most of the enemies are placed far away from the player, shrouded in darkness. So you'll only notice them once you get close to them, which further builds up dread as you're always on edge when walking down the corridors because you never know whether there's an enemy present in them. Even the rooms themselves have so much personality to them. Like the room where you find the flashlight. It's just genius in terms of design. When you enter the room, you see the flashlight stuck on a mannequin wearing James's wife Mary's clothes. The back of the room is shrouded in darkness as the flashlight isn't facing that way, so it can't illuminate that part. So even if you wander off into the back without taking the flashlight first, you'll just see some mannequin parts. The real part comes up when you take the flashlight off of the Mary mannequin. The game knows that you have to face the dark part of the room when you take the flashlight. The Mary mannequin is purposefully set up in that angle so that the moment you take the flashlight, you will immediately illuminate the dark part of the room. And that's exactly when the mannequin monster springs to life. Yes, the broken mannequin parts you just noticed in the dark part of the room, yeah, that was actually a monster lying around. This whole room is just so well designed and thought out that I just can't go without complimenting it. It'll without a doubt scare any player without a problem. Now, there's a puzzle in one of the other rooms. You'll have to find a clock key to open a clock and turn its hands to solve a puzzle. The first time when you enter this room, nothing happens. You just walk in, look at the puzzle and leave to find the clock key. When you visit the third floor in search of the key, the ambient track starts playing and building up atmosphere. This ambient track only plays when you're on the third floor and it sounds particularly weird. It almost sounds like heavy breathing, like the whole building is somehow alive. In this floor, you find a handgun in one of the rooms, and this room is just the most accurate depiction of America I've ever seen. Like a random shopping cart lying around with a gun in it, the room being filled to the brim with bullet holes and shell casings. Truly the most American moment ever. So after you get the gun, when you go back to the second floor, you'll hear some strange noises. Almost like a scream of some sorts, and James mentions that it sounded like it came from the north direction. So we head that way. Remember, it's the same direction where we found the room with the clock puzzle. So when you start heading that way, you'll come across probably the most effective scare throughout this entire section, the introduction of Pyramid Head. It starts off normal. You're heading down the corridor, your radio goes crazy indicating there's an enemy nearby. You get ready to fight or run from it, but there's no enemy. Instead, behind a fenced-off corridor, you see him, Pyramid Head. He just stands there, menacingly, completely unfazed by James's presence. I like how ambiguous the game acts when Pyramid Head is first introduced. No less spooky or less dramatic music, nothing. Just the sound of your radio going apeshit. It completely lets the player decide on their own as to how they should come to terms with what they're seeing, without any music guiding them as to how they should feel. This is a perfect example of how a scare should be done and how it can be made more effective. If you enter the clock puzzle room now, you'll see a person lying dead on a sofa covered in blood while a TV plays static. The clothes on the person eerily resembles James's outfit, which is a bit alarming if you think about it. Regardless, we head off to find the clock key. There's a key inside the clock puzzle room now that wasn't there before. Taking it with us, it opens the door to another room that was previously unlocked. Inside the room, we find a bedroom filled with butterflies that have seemingly escaped their cage. The background music of this level is just really good. It gives a rather unwelcoming or oppressive feel. It almost sounds like the distorted sounds of a clock slowly ticking. There's a strange hole next to the bed, and inside appears to be a key. James tries putting his hand inside but seemingly gets pricked. Now, if I were James, I would try to find some other way to get that key out, but the absolute Chad that James is, he just barges his hand in again without a second thought. I really like how this scene is designed. The background music stops immediately after James starts barging his hand inside the hole. The only sound that's audible is the sound of James's jacket sleeve rubbing against the hole's interior walls. Even the camera is placed in a rather claustrophobic position, which adds to the uncomfortability of this scene. Dread and tension slowly build up as James slowly pushes his hand inside the hole. It builds and builds and builds and then ends. James pulls his hand out with the clock key in it. This is by far one of the best uses of dread I've ever seen in a game. Yet again, there's no dramatic music. The player is just left completely alone to deal with the overwhelming sense of emotions and dread passing through them without any music to guide them as to how they should feel. So, once you get the clock key, you can go back to the clock puzzle room, solve the puzzle and move to the next room. Through a crack in the wall. Exiting this room, you realize that now you're on the other side of the fenced corridor, the same side that the triangle man was standing. It might seem a bit alarming at first, but we decide to continue on regardless. Once you enter a room, you encounter the iconic cutscene of Pyramid Head doing something rather sussy with two mannequins. James decides to hide in a closet, but unfortunately Pyramid Head finds him. And before he could open the closet, James unloads an entire handgun clip into him, which scares him or annoys him, I don't exactly know, but he runs away. This is a good example of how music can heighten dread and tension just as good as silence can. There's a rather eerie track that plays in the background which really helps amp the tension. That, accompanied by the claustrophobic camera angles, maintains the sense of uncomfortableness as Pyramid Head slowly approaches the closet. Regardless, you find the courtyard key in this room with which you can unlock the door leading to the apartment's courtyard. The courtyard yet again manages to capture a really eerie atmosphere. As you navigate through the fog-filled courtyard, you come across an empty swimming pool with 3 lying figures in it. There's a lot of chairs and umbrellas set up around the pool, but there's no one to be found. Hell, the pool itself is empty with a random baby carriage sitting in the middle. This whole area just feels both normal as well as abnormal at the same time. Like the well lined up chairs around the pool and all feels normal, but the absence of people and the random baby carriage present in the middle of the empty pool just feel abnormal and uncanny. It honestly feels abstract, if anything else. This area just has such a unique vibe to it that I just can't compliment it enough. From here on, you go to the other side of the apartment, where you meet Eddie Dombrowski and have some chat with him for a while about normal stuff, like why there's a random dead guy inside of a fridge in the room where Eddie's found, or whether Eddie's friends with the pyramid head.
You're not friends with that red pyramid head, are you?
Completely normal stuff, right? So yeah, after this you can return to the previous part of the apartment and cross a fire escape, the key to which you found on the 3rd floor, which leads to the window of the neighboring apartment block called Blue Creek Apartments. This new apartment building you enter isn't as big as the first one, but that doesn't mean it lacks atmosphere. For starters, there's this ambient track that plays, which really helps heighten the atmospheric dread, making you feel even more vulnerable, as if there's something even more dangerous in this apartment compared to the previous one. Then you have some really strange noises that can easily catch you off guard and scare you, like this doorknob that just randomly starts rattling for some reason.
What the hell is that?
In this apartment block, you have to solve a puzzle to get a key which you can use to leave the building. You have to find and collect 3 coins, one of which you find in a room with Angela in it. This was a pretty sad scene, and one that will definitely take a lot of players by surprise, like it did with me. Like, until now I was mostly scared and terrified, but now after seeing this scene, it left me feeling depressed and sad. Also, the music in the background just really works well here. The scene itself arouses a sense of melancholy in the player's mind, and the music guiding said feelings only help further elevate that feeling. It's a really well done scene. Finding the coins and solving the puzzle, you get the key to a room on the 2nd floor, which has some strange ghostly whispers playing in the background. There's also a balcony door completely open, letting some light and fog to enter the room. It's strangely tranquil, a bit too tranquil to be exact. Like, seeing this area after encountering so many monsters and passing through the dark corridors filled with dread just feels a bit odd. It's so quiet and peaceful here. It kind of feels abstract, similar to what the courtyard area felt. So after entering another room through the balcony, you find a key that leads out of the building complex. But before leaving, you encounter Pyramid Head one more time, once again doing some sussy stuff with a lying figure. This is the first boss fight of this game, and it's really intimidating seeing Pyramid Head just walk around menacingly. Not to mention, a single overhead attack from his blade can kill you instantly, which further adds to the intensity of the fight, as you have to be on your feet and keep your distance from him and stay out of his blade's hit direction. Other than that, it's a pretty simple boss fight. You just run around, stay out of his hit range and shoot him until he is defeated. Once defeated, he descends down a flooded staircase and disappears.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help.
After he disappears, the water flooding the staircase starts to clear out, and going down the flight of stairs, you finally exit the apartments through a door. I like how when you finally leave the apartments, there's no enemy encounter up until you get to the Rosewater part. It's just completely quiet. There's no triumphant music, nothing. You're just left alone with your thoughts. Yet again, the game just lets the player think about everything that they just faced and what they should feel about it. And with that, the section finally ends. The apartments are, without a doubt, one of the best sections in any horror game to date. It brilliantly combines dread and tension to create a desolate and terrifying atmosphere that remains effective from start to end. It also utilizes some genius design philosophies as well as some amazing camera work to scare the player. Also, not only does it have some brilliant sound design, but it even utilizes silence to its own advantage to create tense as well as thought-provoking moments. And after witnessing all of it, I can safely say that the apartments are, without a doubt, the perfect horror level. Something that can serve as a textbook example of just how to do a good horror level. Well, I hope you enjoyed me shilling about a single section of a game for half an hour. I mean, what can I say? Silent Hill 2 is just such a good game that even a small portion of it can be talked about and analyzed for hours. And now that I've finally played the game, I just can't stop fanboying over it. Well, I'll stop temporarily for now. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and share it, and do subscribe to my channel if you like my content. I've recently started switching my content style from brain dead low effort memes to something a bit more high quality. So yeah, subscribe if you like it. And well, thanks for watching. Goodbye.